In Memoriam is a story about love and war. We start with following the main characters, Gaunt and Elwood, during their time at boarding school in the countryside. This boarding school is their home, their family. We see the camaraderie of all of the young men at the school, but we focus on Gaunt and Elwood. Elwood loves Gaunt, and Gaunt loves Elwood, but he won't allow himself to show his love. After all, it is illegal. When the First World War starts, Gaunt enlists, leaving Elwood behind at the boarding school. And the tale of the love that they have but won't show continues through the letters that they send. The war continues in all of its horror. Despite the concern of his family, Elwood enlists to join Gaunt and all of the other young men, their peers, at the front. This is a story about the depths of love and the horrors of war. Hello, welcome to Michelle Reads and Vlogs with me, Michelle, and today we are going to start reading one of my September TBR books, which is In Memoriam by Alice Winn. So as I mentioned in my September TBR video, this was the winner of the Waterstones Debut Fiction Prize for this year. I pre-ordered this book before it came out months ago, thought that the premise sounded really interesting, but just haven't got around to picking it up yet, which is why I put it on my TBR. So let's quickly go through the synopsis with you, and then we're going to get into reading this today. So 1914, war feels far away to Henry Gaunt, Sidney Elwood and the rest of their classmates, safely ensconced in their idyllic boarding school in the English countryside. At 17, they're too young to enlist, and anyway, Gaunt is busy fighting his own private battle, an all-consuming infatuation with his best friend, the dreamy, poetic Elwood, not having a clue that Elwood is in love with him and always has been. When Gaunt's German mother asks him to enlist in the British Army to protect the family from anti-German attacks, Gaunt signs up immediately, relieved to escape his overwhelming feelings for Elwood. The front is horrific, of course, and though Gaunt tries to dissuade Elwood from following him to the battlefield, Elwood soon rushes to join him. Once in the trenches, Elwood and Gaunt find fleeting moments of solace in each other, but their friends are all dying in front of them, and at any moment they could be next. An epic tale of both the devastating tragedies of war and the forbidden romance that blooms in its grip. In Memoriam is a breathtaking debut. Wow, I haven't read that synopsis since before I pre-ordered it, and it sounds like it's maybe going to be quite a tough read, but good. So I'm going to get into this today and I will let you know how it's going. So I wasn't going to update this until I was about 100 pages in. I've read the first chapter and I just wanted to pop on here to share my thoughts. And that's basically that I can 100% see why this won the debut Waterstones Fiction Prize. The writing is good, like really good. Like it's so nice and almost just easy to read, and the way that she's laid out the story and like the introduction to the story, because it's just chapter 1, is so clear and precise. So we're at the boarding school, we're really getting to see this relationship between these two men, Elwood and Gaunt. And I say men, they're 17s, they're young men. And then at the very end of chapter 1, we get to the point where Gaunt goes enlists in the army. And yeah, I'm left feeling like I really want to carry on. It's got me already. The way she's written, kind of, it's from about the war from the beginning and about their relationship from the beginning. The two kind of tropes almost. I don't really even want to use the word trope there. The two are just very well written together. So yeah, enjoying this so far. Happy to see how it goes as I get a bit more into it. So I wasn't going to update until about 100 pages in. I'm still not there. I've just finished chapter 4, which is 78 pages. And I wanted to update because it's just hit me emotionally. We've got this story about all of these men who, in ways, love each other. You know, they're a part of a family from this boarding school. And now we're just kind of getting to the point where the horrors of war are kicking in. And it's emotional, really emotional. I find it hard to cry. Like, I can feel my eyes are just welled up. And the last chapter, chapter 3, I guess? No, chapter 4. I'm on coming up to chapter 5. Yeah, it was hard to read. Really hard. Yeah, as I said, I've broken the book up into sections to try and get to update, and in a way I don't think I'm going to be able to kind of plough through and read this book quickly because of the emotions. Like right now, you know, I wanted to read to page 100, which is a couple more chapters, and I don't think I can. I think I just need to take some time, get out of my pajamas, have a shower, and maybe do some other things rather than just reading. I think this is going to be one of those books that just you need to kind of sit with for a while. Yeah, so sorry I haven't actually updated you really on more of the plot. I kind of think at this point we're going to start getting into spoiler regions, so yeah, I don't think I'm going to talk about the plot too much anymore. You know, we've got what they've told us in the synopsis. We've got the boys from the boarding school and the fact that a lot of them are in relationships with each other, but obviously it's 1915, so, or like 1914, so they can't be, or it's kind of like between 1913 to 1915, so they're in relationships even though they're technically not, and some are more open than others. And then, yeah, we've got the war aspect. That kind of is the story so far. Intrigued to see where this is going, because obviously it's a 350-page book, I think, and I'm only 80 pages in, so there's obviously a lot more to come. Yeah, just, it's going to be a bit of a slower read than I thought it was going to be, but that's fine. I'll let you know how it continues to go. So a little update on In Memoriam, as I am now close to finishing. I think I've got about 50 pages left. So I just want to give a little update on my feelings of this currently. I'm not going to share any more plot because I don't want to spoil it for anyone. I feel so connected to these characters. I feel like we are there with them and we are experiencing all of the highs, all of the lows, all of the brutality, all of the small moments of kindness that they get from random people around them or those that they love. I feel like we're there with them. Like, Alice Winn is a genius, like an absolute genius. The pacing of this is brilliant. I feel like as we're going through, the chapters are getting slightly shorter, they're becoming more punchy, and it's just made me want to keep reading. I think I already mentioned in a previous clip that I struggled at the beginning of this. So originally I'd split it into 4 sections. So I'd split like each 100 pages and then the last kind of 50, 60 pages on its own. And that was my plan, to read in huge chunks and kind of film this video over a day or two. I think that was about a week ago now, because I couldn't do it. There were chapters where I just had to close the book and sit and reflect and go and do other things. So I've been listening to my current audiobook, which is different to this, alongside, just to have the breaks from this, because it's brilliant, it's poetic, it's beautifully written. It's also horrifying because of the description of war and the feeling like we're there. Like, I was brought up going around army museums and cemeteries, and I kind of think that I was exposed to it all maybe a bit too early, because it's only as an adult that you can really appreciate the horrors of war. Like, the main characters are in this kind of span from kind of 15 to 22. And, you know, I'm in my 30s. I'm like, they were so young. They were so young and they went through this. Yeah, but incredible writing from Alice Winn. I am going to finish this and let you know my overall thoughts. But yeah, I'm really into it now and looking forward to seeing what happens, because at the moment I have no idea where this is going. No idea. I'm on part 3, so if you've read it, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. We'll see. So I've just finished In Memoriam, and it's really difficult to talk about this without talking about the plot, but I loved it. Like, I can 100% see why Alice Winn won the Waterstones Debut Fiction Prize, because this book is amazing. It's so well thought out, put together, how all of the plot makes sense. The pacing is brilliant. As I mentioned in my last clip, the characters are so well rounded out that we feel like we know them, we feel like we're there with them, we feel like we're experiencing everything alongside them. And it was brilliant. I guess that we can look at the slight negatives. So I do think that there are a lot of coincidences in this book, and I'm not sure, because I don't know enough about World War I to really comment on it, how likely it would have been how all of these characters came in contact with one another. So we start at the boarding school where all of these men have met and been friends, and then obviously it takes us into war with them. And then sometimes how they meet each other, or they meet random people they knew from their past. And I'm like, what are the chances? And that's where I have to remember, you know, it's a story. It is, I know it was very realistic to read, but it is a story and it is fictional. So obviously those coincidences have to be there to drive the plots and to invest us, or to get us invested. Yeah, so it was slightly unbelievable. Like, those moments did kind of draw me away and think, But otherwise, everything else I thought was just brilliant. So, clear 5-star read. Absolutely. It is going to be one of those 5 stars, though, that I probably will never read again. A bit like The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak. Brilliant book, but just as with The Book Thief, this is going to stay with me forever. Like, I won't need to read this again. You know, sometimes you read a book and 6 months later you think, what was that book about? This will stay with me probably for the rest of my life. Yeah, so I do recommend, but take that recommendation with a pinch of salt. Make sure you are in the right headspace to read this. As I said, for me, it was quite difficult at some points. But other than that, I will leave it there for today. So thank you very much. If you've watched this whole video all the way through, I really do appreciate it. I'd appreciate if you could give it a like if you liked it and subscribe if you want to. And other than that, I hope that you have a good rest of the day, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and I will see you next time. Bye.